Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Q&A session where we get to hear from our current international students. My name is Leah Odada. I'm an International Admissions and Recruitment Officer here at Carleton University, and I'm very excited to be moderating the great panel that we have here. So I will give our current students a chance to introduce themselves before we get started. How are we doing
Hi,
here?
my name is Aisha, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm currently a third-year health science student at Carleton.
Hi, my name is Disha.
Disha Leading?
I'm a second year BIT student from Mauritius, and I'm glad to hear your questions.
Hey everyone, my name is Dhruv and I'm currently doing my fourth year in psychology with minors in business and human resources management. And it's a pleasure meeting and talking with you all. Cheers.
Hello everyone, my name is Romina. I am currently in my third year in film studies in the Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences. I am from Mexico City.
Perfect. So we have a great group of students here today. So put your questions in the chat. What do you want to hear from current students about their experience? What are you curious about? Put your questions in the chat and we'll be able to get to them and hopefully our students can provide some great answers. All right, I do have a question to start us off though. Moving from a different country to a whole new country, that's a big transition. How did you find that transition? What did you do that helped? What do you wish you did that could have helped? How about we start with you, Aisha?
Hi, yeah, so it can definitely be a bit daunting if you've never, especially if you've never been to the country that you're moving to. So, the advice that I always give is just to be patient with yourself. You don't have to know everything or be perfect at everything or get everything right on the first go. So, really just take your time and just enjoy the experience because you're only ever going to be a newcomer once. So, you really want to take it all in. Yeah. And everybody in Ottawa is so nice. They're always so willing to help with everything. So take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Canada is definitely very well known for its very welcoming nature. Disha, how about you? How was your experience?
Well, I think Aisha covered it pretty much well. What I have to say is just come in here with the perfect, like, not perfect, but an open mind. And just be open to learning new things because moving to a country is definitely not easy. But, finding things that's going to make your life easier, that's going to, like, change the way you see things is also very, important. So I'd say to just, come into Canada, come into new school with a good mindset, and you should be okay.
That's a good answer for sure. It's good to have that positive expectation when you come into this journey. To add on to that question, so we experience 4 different seasons. So maybe for many people who are coming from other countries, that might not be the case. How did you find adapting to the weather and making that transition, Drew?
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I would say it's a bit of a process. I mean, especially I come from a country that that is sunny all time of the year, 365 days of a year, and here coming to a country with like 4 seasons, having all seasons, and especially having 6 months of winter, it was a bit of a hassle for me. I mean, I'll admit that. But initially, after the years went by, like you start getting used to it. So it's like by November, you're like, okay, time to bring in the coats and the mittens out at the same time. So yeah, I mean, and Carleton University does a good job at that, like at providing resources and even like sessions about how to prepare for the winter in regards to clothing and insulation as well as conditioning, like because the winters tend to be dry, so you tend to have a bit of a dry skin. So in that case, I think conditioning and also like hydrating yourself is also a good thing to do that. So I mean, in regards to that, I actually managed to hold myself pretty well. And I do admit that I have a bit of a love hate relationship, like hate in the sense that like the sunlight, there's not much sunlight around. It's a bit gloomy, so it like tends to be a bit depressing. And however, at the same time, I do have a love relationship to it because I think there's something about gloomy days, especially like if it's raining outside, if it's snowing outside, that it makes you to do something productive in a sense, because there's not much to do outside, not much to you can't go out anywhere. because of the condition outside. It's just like you might just well do something inside, something beneficial inside, like studying, doing your assignments, or even reading a book. It's just some like it gives you some vibes off of that. So overall, like yeah, it makes you like it's it's a great having a taste of experience about the winter season here.
Absolutely. And don't let that scare you. So the winter has a lot of great things to actually do. I know, Romina, you talked about skating on the canal, which is very close to our campus. How was that experience?
It was amazing. I wanted to do it since my first year, but I didn't know how to skate. So I took classes in Carleton how to skate, and I finally did it this year. Yeah, and
Nice.
there was a lot of people skating in the canal. Yeah.
That's a fun winter activity. And there's so many other fun winter activities to do as well, like ski, tobogganing, snowshoeing. Have any of you done any of those activities before? Yeah. Nice. All right. Good to see. All right. I do have a question. So we have a question from one of our students here. Dishalini, I know you did the IBDP, so the International Baccalaureate Program. That is a very vigorous program. Do you find that it helped you when you joined university?
Oh yeah, definitely. The IBDP program as a whole helped me in my assignments and how I approach work. Since the DP program has a lot of work to do, so the workload is pretty much heavy. It really helped me manage my time and my work during my first year, especially. So I think doing the DP was very helpful to me, and it really helped me in terms of like sorting my things, getting work done, because I'm also able to tackle my hobbies as well as work and not just focus on one thing rather than the other. Additionally, what I want to say is the workload at university level and what we did at high school level for the DP is really different, because honestly, you will start from scratch. You will really start from the beginning once you reach university, because you're choosing a degree program that's that's really focused. And so what's important to know is don't stress too much about it. Like focus on one thing, and soon you'll be there for another.
That is very true. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I know Romina and Dhruv, you both have minors included in your programs. Aisha, I'm not sure if you have a minor or Disha, but maybe Dhruv, you can tell us. So you have a minor in business and HR. So there's a student who's curious about adding a minor if you're doing psychology and you have a business minor, making that work. Does it work for you being in two different programs and getting that experience from two different areas?
Yeah, sure. I can add into that. So, in regards to attaining a minor, I mean, like regarding the psychology program, we have a quite one of the most comprehensive and even like a customizable program at Carleton University. So, in that case, like along with your major, you can add whatever minors or concentrations you can have. And in regards to having a minor, you can if you have a minor or two, guess what? You can do that. And even having a concentration, guess what? You can do that. I did that too. And even if you want to add a major too, like guess what, I mean, I did not do that, but you can do that too as well. So in regards to like if you want to add a minor, let's say business, what it actually like really does is that it takes off some of your elective requirements in the case, because most of your half of your degree will be based on electives. About half of your degree will be based on electives. In order to fulfill that electives, instead of taking courses unnecessary, like the minor can help you like take off some of that requirements, while at the same time giving you the necessary skills as well, like where you can like merge the best and add it to your practical experience, or and even your personal experience in that case. So actually, it's more like it depends upon what your capabilities are. So for example, if you can take a minor with with a major, then go ahead for it. And also, like if there are some courses which might be difficult, and on the Carleton University has websites that cater to those minors, where you can like look at alternative courses that like tend to those courses. Like in place of this difficult course, you can take this alternative course which can help you with that, get you the same credits, and fulfill your minor requirements as well. So yeah, it is overall it's doable. I think yeah, if you can do it, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, that goes to show you how very customizable the degree programs are, not only just based on the program you're in, but also maybe you have other interests that vary and how you can kind of make them work together for your career goals. Romina, how is it? So you have a minor as well in your program. Do you find balancing the program, having a minor and getting that exposure?
I used to have a minor in Japanese language. However, I had to drop it due to schedule conflicts, and also because I have another part-time job. But it was a good experience. I was in first year Japanese, the intensive one, and like it was awesome. I liked it a lot.
Okay, but that brings us to a very good question. So balancing your workload at school while also balancing your like having a part-time job. Um, Aisha, how have you found balancing working part-time and being a student?
Well, I definitely thought it was going to be hard just because of the program I'm in. It's a bit challenging, and there's always something, but I found that it's really helped me like be more like on top of my game, like because I know, okay, I have an assignment due and I also have this work thing that I have to do. It really helps me stay organized. So definitely that. And honestly, it just, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm really productive when I'm doing more than one thing. So I really like it.
That's good. I mean, when you're very busy, you tend to be more organized, so that makes sense. Disha, you're in a very challenging program, so you're doing two campuses. You're handling two campuses. How do you find balancing extracurricular activities or working as well as your studies?
So I learned a lot from my first year, and my program is indeed very heavy, but that doesn't stop me from having hobbies, having other things to do, because I have to like prioritize my mental health too. And I feel like planning ahead of time really helps. And like what something like the professors do in Carleton is to release the course outline early, and it really helps me to plan my things accordingly. And I think this gives me a big advantage on the things I have to do and when I have to get it done by. So it leaves me time to manage my extracurriculars and my hobbies really.
Yeah, so finding that perfect work-life balance. Um, Included in that balance is probably having a social life. Like it's not just all school and work. There are fun things that you also get to do. Drew, any fun things you get to do in Ottawa that you've done that you definitely recommend, and how have you balanced having fun and your studies?
Yeah, sure. Ottawa, despite its laid-back nature, does have some hidden some hidden secrets or untalked about secrets. I think the number one thing would be the skating around the Rideau Canal. I mean, like, yeah, it's the world's largest canal. It turns it becomes the world's largest canal in the winter. So I think you definitely should go for that. I mean, sure, you might you might get some experience falling down more rather than skating, or at worst maybe a broken nose or chipped tooth. Not discouraging anyone, but at the same time, it's actually a pleasure, like an experience, skating around the canal with your friends and having a coffee or pancakes at Beaver Tails. So it's also nice. And also in winter, in regards to the winter session and winter festival, the winter season, we do have a winter Lute festival that happens around the Ottawa Gatineau area, where they have a beautiful ice sculptures, like there's one based on Olaf from Frozen, or the maple leaf, and it's quite a beautiful sight to look at that. And on top of that, if you're like a cultural or like a foodie, and there are many local, culture specific as festivals, especially like the Italian week that we have over the summer, especially in Little Italy, and the Afro Caribbean festival that happens in the fall. So like these are some examples of cultural diversity in Ottawa, which allows to host these kind of events and get exposure to different cultures and foods. So overall, Ottawa does have some things to do, especially if you look on Instagram and if you look on do some searching on other social media websites or platforms. Yeah, Ottawa, you'll be surprised by how much Ottawa has to offer.
Yes, that is 100% true. Ottawa is Canada's hidden gem. So there's so many things that you can do, honestly. When it comes to festivals, we have so many festivals running all through the different seasons. So check out the Instagram that always advertise that in social media. Come outside, go meet people, go enjoy, experience other cultures. There are many things about Ottawa. Romina, anything to add on the student life side of things?
Oh, there's a lot of that's true. Ottawa is a hidden gem. There's so many things you can do. There's so many festivals, free events that you can attend. For example, not a lot of people know this, but the National Arts Center, NAC, they offer like tickets for $15 for students or people under 30. So you can go watch ballet performances, orchestras, you can go to museums for free on Thursdays usually. Like there's so many things to do if you actually look for things to do. Yeah.
That's good to hear. And now you know they've experienced this, so they can give you a lot of great tips and tricks. So reach out to them on our UniBuddy platform to hear more. So for those who are living with the like when you came to university, maybe you never shared a room with someone before. When you came to university, it was about having roommates and that experience of like living with somebody else. How has that experience been for you? I'm sure you've learned a lot about yourself and others. But Aisha, how is it sharing a room with someone, or how is it having roommates or housemates?
Well, as somebody, I actually grew up in like, I come from a pretty big family, so I'm kind of used to sharing a room with people, but it was definitely different because I had never met these people. And so it was a new experience. I tried to go in with an open mind just so I wouldn't be closed off. And I'd say it was pretty good, actually. Me and my roommate ended up becoming really good friends. And yeah, I definitely say living with a new person, it gives you perspective. It teaches you a lot about yourself. You learn, your limits, your boundaries, what you can handle and what you can't. So it's definitely an experience that I would encourage everybody to have. And I hope everybody's experience goes well because it's not always like that, unfortunately. But yeah, and living with housemates off res, again, it just gives you a sense of more things to do outside of school. So yeah, definitely encourage both.
That's good to hear. You definitely learn a lot about yourself. Disha, I know you also had a roommate when you were in residence, and also you are living off campus. So how was that experience for you?
Living in res with roommates on in my first year was definitely life changing because I was able to meet people from around the world, and one of my roommates was actually Canadian, so it gave me a leap into the Canadian society and like things to do in Ottawa and the things and the way they approach things. So it was really interesting because I get to like talk to her and like understand exactly what's going on around, and it was really helpful to me. Living out of res, sorry. I still have roommates, and it's also a different way of living because they are professionals, and when I interact with them, I'm able to know a bit more about the working life and how busy life can actually get outside of university. So it's definitely interesting to experience living with roommates.
Yes, definitely. And Drew, I know you also live with people right now. You even have a pet. Tell us about that experience having people with you, living with you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a bit of a difference like living on campus and off campus. I mean, I used to live on campus with a single roommate before. So I mean, I used to live in a traditional bedroom. I mean, so for all the Russell people out there, I was part of one too. And like living off campus is like, I mean, what you trade off in sort of like inconvenience. Like, for example, you cannot go to like, you can't go to the tunnel wearing shorts, but you trade like, you gain that in independence. For example, like you cook your own food, you have your own room. I mean, I'm pretty sure pretty much all the establishments in Ottawa have like have a room for one person, and plus like depending upon what you want an unfurnished or a furnished house, like depending upon what you want, you get that. And currently like living with four people and a cat, it's and cat specifically. I think it's been it's a wonderful experience, especially like you learn many values of like establishing boundaries, making accommodations, like coming to compromises or middle grounds, like about like in regards to privacy, or even like taking being mindful of each other's preferences or schedule. It has been a learning experience for me. I mean, like I mean, I enjoy it, and especially with like depending upon like how you know your roommates very well, like it's wonderful. Like in the sense like you get to know, and like as Dishalini mentioned, that you get to know them, like their aspiration, their professions, as well as like what field of area they specialize in. So in a way, you're not only making friends, but also you're also making connections as well. connections that can also help you in your professional development as well. So in a way, it's like having great roommates can be a life enhancing experience, especially living off campus.
Yeah, so it starts beginning that networking connections and stuff like that. Romina, I know you've lived in residence for 3 years now, and you talked about how it made you very independent. Let's talk about your experience living on campus. I lived on campus 4 years, so I definitely find a lot of comforts on campus, but you can share your experience.
Oh yeah, I've been on campus for 3 years, and I've been in the same building as well for those 3 years, and I just love it. For me, it's just like it's so convenient because I have all my friends here. I see them every day. I also, if I have class, I just take 10 minutes to go to class, and I don't know. And the cafe is also right here beside my building, so if I get hungry, I just go there. It's just really convenient, and I love it. And
I
I
can
also have my space because I have a single room, so I feel, yeah.
And you mentioned in your first year, so you and your roommate shared a room, and you're still friends to this day. So that definitely is a good positive thing to come out of the roommate experience as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, I met a lot of people in my first year because it was kind of during COVID. So we had online classes. And so I met everyone in my building, in my floor. And we're still friends till this day. So it's really nice.
That's awesome. It's great to see that the community was definitely something that you can still sustain even after your first year and second year. So one thing I would say, like I know moving to a whole new country does come with its own challenges. Maybe some challenges that you've experienced, how you overcame them. Aisha, we can start with you. Like, what was one of the biggest challenges you faced, and how did you overcome it?
So the biggest challenge I think was figuring out the transit system, because you really needed to go everywhere and do everything, because Ottawa's really big and you wouldn't know that. And so on multiple occasions, I would take the wrong bus, end up in the wrong place, and then I would start panicking. But obviously, as time went on, I would ask a lot of people I see. And like I said, people are very friendly and willing to help. And yeah, so as time goes on, you really just get used to it and you learn more. And yeah, it can definitely be hard at first, but again, just come with an open mind and everything will be good.
That's good. That's a positive note, and that's definitely one thing that Canadians are friendly. So if you need help, like don't be afraid to reach out. There's probably someone on the street who's willing to tell you which bus to enter. Dishalini, how was your experience, or what challenges have you faced?
Well, for the biggest part, my challenge was facing winter. Coming from a relatively warm country, winter was definitely one of my biggest challenge because I had to layer and layer and then fall sick. Although I've layered, it was something interesting, but I guess for my second winter, I was better prepared. I took the necessary like vitamins, which is very, very important for you guys coming here. um, yeah, I was very like prepared for the next winter, and yeah, I think I gained experience from that, so that solved my challenge. But still, winter is unpredictable, and sometimes we have good winters, sometimes we have relatively less good winters, but um, it's still nice to be able to experience all of that.
Yes. And the ISSO has this workshop on preparing for the winter. So for all our newcomers, I recommend attending that workshop to better prepare yourself for the winter. And as Dishalini shared her advice, layers, 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 they do come in handy. Drew, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the winter as well. Like I mentioned before, like the winter is like it can be a bit of a challenge, and I think, but still, like if you can make the best of it, like try to like take the good things out of the winter season, especially since it's going to be like for 6 months. I mean, November till April. I mean, yeah. So in that case, I think the best, I mean, taking part like with the proper insulation, proper hydration, proper conditioning. I think like uh, you can brave the winter, or you can like just overcome the winter, and I think you'll get used to it. And initially in your first year you might not, because especially for those who are coming from warmer countries, but because of the huge weather change. but I mean, like if you can tolerate the heat of a warmer country and like bear the cold of a winter country, I think you pretty much can live anywhere. So yeah, so participating in the ISSO sessions related to winter clothing, as well as being mindful of like staying outside for too long, at the same time utilizing the transportation system at your convenience. I think the chances of you like becoming the winter winter winner can increase.
All right. How about you, Romina? Any challenges you faced making the move and how did you overcome it?
I think there was the my biggest challenges was becoming independent from one day to another, really, because in Mexico I used to live with my parents. um, I didn't go out a lot, if I'm being honest. So now when I came here to Canada, I had to, oh, you need to go to Walmart, oh, you want to do this, you need to do it by yourself, like becoming fully independent. And the other challenge I would say is it was in my first year in academics, because also in Mexico I never wrote an essay, but thankfully I took a English as a second language course in the advanced level, 1900s, and they helped me there to learn like proper language, like the English language, to write essays, like formal essays, and that helped me so much. And now I write essays almost every week. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, you definitely learn a lot about yourself and you step out of your comfort zone. And as Carlton likes to say, you challenge yourself. So we're glad to see that you challenge yourself coming to Carlton and stepping out of that comfort zone. Now, if you were to like, so this is like people who are about to make the same transition you made. I am sure being in your third year or fourth year, you have lots of lessons that you've learned. If you were to summarize just some short advice to incoming students, what would you say your advice is? Aisha, what words of wisdom do you have to share?
I would say that university is completely different from high school, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think when a lot of people hear this, they think of, oh, it's a lot of work and, you may not be able to cope. But while it is a lot of work, you're kind of prepared for it. You just don't know it yet because you never really know how you're going to fare in a situation unless you're actually in it, right? And so most of the times you do have like the tools and the capabilities to do all this stuff. You just need to apply it. And I think coming to university, it definitely gives you the challenges, as Leah said, to be able to, put all these skills to good use. So yeah, I definitely say come into it knowing it's different from high school, but you can still manage it. Like you can hold your own.
Good advice. Good advice, Aisha. How about you, Dishaline? What words of wisdom do you have to share?
All I can say is whenever you're coming to a new place, new country, and facing new experiences, always tell yourself that there are other people in the same situation as you. And it's totally okay to be stressed. It's totally okay to be scared because everyone's different. Everyone's experiencing the same thing as you. And you just have to be, yourself. You just have to face life with a lot of positivity because it can get challenging and it will get challenging, but with every challenge there's a beautiful outcome, so make the most of it.
That's a really great way to look at it for sure. Droop, how about you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, basically, I think like just adding on to what Aisha and Dishalini mentioned, like in regards to like your university years, like your time in the university, like consider that the university, like your time at the university is, or your university years are usually like the building blocks of your like to adulthood. So this is like the time where you'll be experiencing like like independence, but also at the cost of like taking responsibility and accountability. So in the case that like it sort of like teaches you about the basic basic standards of adulthood, and at the same time I would suggest like making the best out of it. So like regarding depending upon what program you have, whether it's like 4 5 or 6 years, make the best out of those years by by making connections, by making friends, by participating in clubs, by participating in events, or even like gaining the job experience. I do know that Carlton has a wonderful co-op and a practicum placement program depending upon what program you are in. So in that case, I think you make the best out of the university years, but and then like by stepping out of your comfort zone, like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to a bit of trial and error, in the sense that like because you're in your initiative years, and you sort of like learning what it's like. Sometimes things don't go your way. It's okay to deviate a bit of here and there, and as long as you don't go astray, that is. So it's as long as you keep yourself in the main path, and uh, you know, just taking care of yourself, it should be good. And lastly, I would just say that like if you don't feel like if you're a bit feeling overwhelmed or hesitant or not feeling up to the task, you need not worry about that, because time and wisdom will sort that out. So what might be difficult for you the first year, by second, third year, you might be like, oh, this is like cakewalk for me. I'm just used to this now. So yeah.
That's good advice. I like it. I like the trial and error. I like it for sure. Romina, last but not least, I would love to hear from you.
My advice to future students is that you guys shouldn't worry too much, because it's probably that your university years are going to be the best years of your life. And it's normal to be scared. It's normal to have doubts, especially when you're moving to a new country, when you start from zero. But everything works out at the end. Everything works out for the best.
I love that. I love that. That's a very positive way to look at it. The conversation doesn't have to end here. As you can hear, our ambassadors have really great advice. You can continue this conversation in our UniBuddy platform. All of the ambassadors you saw today are available on the platform, and they can continue to tell you how they made the transition. They can continue to tell you how the weather worked for them as well. So continue the conversation there. As we wrap up, thank you so much to our amazing ambassadors for just sharing your time with us. We will have lounge sessions available right after this. You'll automatically be directed to that platform. There is where we'll be talking to our staff. So you can talk to all the different speakers you've met today from the staff, and we'll be able to answer more of your questions one-on-one. You can use chat, you can use video. We're happy to continue the conversation. But from us, we will have recordings available after this. So if you missed a session or you want to come back and watch a session, you will get an email with all the replays of the sessions today. And we'll also be announcing the winners from the prize for the leaderboard. So we love your interaction. We're so grateful for all of it. And we do have some amazing prizes for all the students who are very active on the platform. You'll be hearing from us with your prizes and how you can redeem those. But thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. We want to see you in the lounge, so the conversation is not over. Join us in the lounge. And just thank you so much for your time. And we hope to see a lot of you as Future Ravens soon. But thank you very much. And we can't wait to chat more. As always, you can always email us if you have any follow-up questions as well.